let me start an argument with you, because that's fun, especially with you. So I would argue, okay, that better cameras don't sell iPhones. Network upgrades and bigger screens sell iPhones. So this whole exercise today for investors, take it or leave it.
Yeah, I think the real answer here is in the names. Last year you had the iPhone XR, the XS, the XS Max. This year, I think you're going to see an iPhone 11, the default iPhone. The XR outsold all the other iPhones last year. Then you're going to see an 11 Pro and 11 Pro Max. A big question I have is how they're going to differentiate those Pro models, if that's what they do, how they're going to differentiate those Pro models beyond just it has a third camera, which is what the big rumor is. And if the iPhone 11 is the default iPhone, the one they're expecting you to get, then the real question becomes how many of those services and accessories can they attach? You buy an iPhone 11 at a lower ASP, are you going to buy AirPods? Are you going to buy an Apple Watch? Are you going to buy the entire suite of services? I expect to hear a lot about that game service today. I think that's a really interesting play for Apple, especially as they kick off a new consumer round of marketing. It is extremely differentiated compared to, say, the TV service, where I think there's still a lot of question marks.
Nilay, to that point, I mean, it really is increasingly all about that installed base and leveraging that. Do you think maybe, and even more so than previous September events that we've seen from Apple, do you think that the services, you think that the ecosystem and what these devices can enable in terms of a stickier installed base is really going to be the biggest focus here today?
I think they know they have a really sticky installed base. At least, as long as they're talking to the customers in the U.S., you're not going to leave iMessage. I think we've talked about this so many times. You're not going to leave iMessage. You're going to stay right with those blue bubbles. So now Apple has to convince you that all of their other services are worth it. And I think their goal is to present a unified vision for what living in the iOS ecosystem looks like. And I'm stuck in it. You're stuck in it. It's pretty good, but it can get better. And there's some things, particularly, John, around the camera, as you brought up. Google's camera is kind of better. Samsung's camera is really good. They've got to make a big play to say, hey, this is one of the most important things you do with your phone.
I mean, good cameras, they only get you so far.
Yeah, they're not outselling the iPhone. I think they absolutely only get you so far. It's that ecosystem that keeps you in, but I think they want to beat them on the tech specs too. So that balance of, hey, we know we got you, here's some more stuff, just go ahead and buy it, versus, hey, you're the leader and you feel good about the restrictions of this ecosystem, that's the balance they have to strike.
So, Nilay, what do you make of, like, when the Journal this week says they got to emphasize accessories, even though the percentage of overall revenue for the 9 months of the year so far, that's iPhone, is, what, down 15%? I mean, what's more important right now?
I don't think anything's more important than iPhone. I just don't think those huge year-over-year sales gains are going to appear. They don't have any more markets to unlock. There's no more giant Chinese market, no more huge international carriers to unlock for them. So now it's really, if you listen to Tim Cook, we got to make upgrading easier. We got to make trade-ins easier so they feel like subsidies. What they're looking to do is get all those people who are still happy with the 6S, happy with their headphone jack. They got to present a compelling case to upgrade, buy those AirPods, buy that Apple Watch, sign up for Apple Music. It's a lot of stuff to buy if you're already kind of happy with your iPhone. And iPhones, iOS 13 is not significantly different than previous versions of iOS. They've got to make a sale about all the things you can do. Otherwise, people are just going to hold tight.
Josh, I realize we're still 2 hours out from this event, but you've covered a number of these over the years. What does it feel like? What's the sentiment on the ground? How does it compare to previous events?
Listen, Morgan, at these events, you can always expect Tim Cook to take the stage. He'll be there with Jeff Williams and Phil Schiller. They're going to bring a lot of enthusiasm to this event, a lot of excitement. You're going to hear the theater there, which is being live streamed, the event. A lot of Apple employees. So clearly, we're at the Steve Jobs Theater. We're here in Cupertino, California. So the excitement will be there. We'll see how, of course, investors react and consumers react. Like I said, expectations are pretty muted. On the other hand, listen, there are analysts who say there's still a lot of people on really old iPhones, an estimated 200 million iPhone 6 or earlier. That's potentially a lot of people who may think about upgrading here to the faster processor, to the improved camera system. We'll find out.
And guys, I would just once again argue, and Nilay, I'm trying to start an argument with you. You're not playing. that today...
Such a troublemaker.
Yeah, I am. I like to make trouble. Today doesn't really matter as long as Apple doesn't screw it up, right? Because next year we expect we're going to get a 5G iPhone network upgrade with the phone. We haven't had that since the iPhone 5 in 2012. That could really potentially move the needle if they actually build in new capabilities and software to take advantage of 5G. But just as long as they don't screw this up, if they tell a decent story about new cameras and new services and just kind of tread water, that's fine.
Yeah, I mean, if you want an argument, I don't think it's fine. I don't think Apple can risk their position. They can't take a step back. And so if they really come out and it is a bunch of new cameras and it is really expensive, well, then they're not going to attract the number of switchers, the number of upgraders they need. And they need to keep that upgrade rate high, really high, in order to maintain their numbers, maintain their position. But you're right, they're taking a sort of year delay versus, the Samsungs and LGs and OnePluses of the world to put out a 5G phone. I think that's actually fine. These networks are far but ready. Verizon can't even cover, they're announcing we've got NFL stadiums. It's actually just certain areas of an NFL stadium. They can't even get that much range. So these networks aren't ready. I think if Apple can hit the big network deployment moment with the 5G iPhone, those are two upgrades you're going to make at once. You probably pay a little bit more extra for the 5G. You're going to get a new phone that can address that network. That is a compelling upgrade. So I do think you're right there. But they cannot take their eye off the ball. They can't iPhone 7 this one. And put out a phone with basically the same but a different color. They've got to deliver on a vision here, especially if they want those service attach rates to go up.